If you just walked up, like these are fresh stockfish, you're not going to catch them. So anytime you're fishing for wild or native fish, you have to think, because these things were born in the stream, they've been chased by predators their whole life, and they're looking for danger constantly. Your danger, there's so many other things that are danger. They see something come overhead, they're instantly thinking, seek cover. Hey everybody, Benny P here with Lovely Legz Fly Fishing, and today, check it out. I'm up on a beautiful trout stream in northern Pennsylvania, and I'm gonna be chasing some brookies and browns. I have no idea what I'll get into, but I have caught both brookies and browns in this stream, so I'll keep my fingers crossed that it'll be a combination of both of them, but regardless, if I get into fish, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna go ahead and explain a little bit today about how I'm fishing, the spots I'm going up to, and see if I can help some newbies to the sport that are out chasing wild fish. Before I start the video, I'm gonna go over my equipment, and this stream, though it's a small stream, it's pretty open, so I can get away with my 10-foot syndicate rod. That's a 2-weight rod. It's excellent for any fish. I use this on the big trout streams and smaller trout streams that aren't brushed in like the stream I'm fishing today. This is the rod that I use. I have it paired with my Redington Euro Tilt reel. Great little balance here, as you can see. I'm fishing the Rio Phipps line, and at the end of that looped leader on that line, I have one of our Lovely Legz 5-foot indicator leaders. That 5-foot indicator leader has a tippet ring. I'm not sure if you can see it there. Off the tippet ring, I have 4X tippet, which I don't need for the strength, but that's what I'm using today. And I have a little dropper rig, if you can see it, and that's 4.5 or 5X tippet. I can't remember which one I used. The flies I'm using to start the video is going to be the Lovely Legz Pink Pheasant Tail Nymph, and that's my top fly. The bottom fly, my anchor fly, is a Lovely Legz Double Trouble, and that's the Dark Natural. It has the yellow legs. So let's head down to the water and see what we can get into. All right, let's start it off. I'm going to stay low, sneak up to the first little spot, and you can see there's a tree over there and it's washed out, and there should be a fish hiding there. There's how to start the video off. First fish, and it's a nice sized brookie. Let's take a better look at this fish. Man, that's a solid fish. Let's get him back in the water. And that's the way to start it off. That guy right there hit the double trouble. You can see I have a really nice piece of water here, and it's deep up through here. It's kind of washed out from this tree that's down, the old root system, and it creates a nice little run through here. I'm going to keep the camera back here. I'm going to sneak up, back this up a little bit. I'm going to stay on this side, stay low, and zing a cast up into there and see if we can't pull another fish. What I'm doing now is I'm pulling a little more line out so I can get this cast way up into the top of the run. It's almost hard to believe I didn't catch a fish on that cast, but I fished this side of the run. Now I'm going to throw into the other side of the run. Crazy. I have to give that another cast. There's no way there's not a fish in there. Snagged up, let me go grab that and I'm gonna give it another cast. Crazy. It doesn't make sense to why I didn't hook a fish there, but who knows, maybe I spooked one setting up. Here's what it is. Right, you can see up here there's a tree down in the water. It creates a little deeper spot, some structure for fish to hide in. I'm going to stay on this side, work my way up to here and give it a cast down into there. And we got another brook trout in the net. That one there is on the dark natural double trouble as well. And you can see that fly right in the corner of his mouth. Let's get him back in the water. Another pretty little fish. And away he goes. That's two. And just another nice little holding spot. It comes around, it's a little bit deeper there. And there was one laying right in the deepest spot. Well, here's a better look. You can see there's where that log's down through the water, and that's washed out right there. And in that washout, that belly, that's where that fish was sitting. Just a little washout right on this other side. I saw a fish rise. Not going to throw in a dry fly because there has not been consistent risers, but I'm going to give the nymphs a toss into there and see if we can't fool one. Just washed out a very little bit, but it's enough. It should be holding a fish. My line stuck up in that tree, but we just got one out of the shadows here. Nice looking little brook trout. That one there was on a pink pheasant tail. Let's get that guy back in the water. That little guy went straight back into where I got him from. All right, that's a good little start. 3 brookies in the net. I was expecting some brown trout, but I'll take the brookies. You can see I have a head net on, and when you get into the spring in Pennsylvania and you're up north, you have to deal with blackflies, so it's always smart to have a head net on, and I have a thermocell on my side. Classic spot here. You have nice deep spot, washed out bank. It's going to be tough because I have this tree that comes in here, so I have to zing a cast up into there and try to pull a fish out of there. I'll stay on this side of the camera and I'll fish a couple casts into that lower section before I zing a cast up under that washed out tree. And there's another little brookie, and that was on the lower side. I didn't get up under there yet, but that one could have darted out from underneath. But let's get this guy back in the water. Actually, that's a little brown trout. I just looked in my net. Thought it was a brookie because it's so small, but it is a brown trout. So let's get this little brown back in the water. And that is an absolute gorgeous little fish. Alright, who would have thought the smallest fish so far in the video would be a brown trout? Expected if I got into brown trout I'd get into a couple decent sized ones, but I'll take any fish I can get right now. I am on a time limit. I'm fishing with two of my friends and we're split up into 3 different sections. I'm the one who's filming, so I only have like a little bit over an hour to film. So let me keep moving and explaining the spots. So this spot here is so tricky. There's a deep washed out spot right in the middle. Nothing's gonna cover me, so I have to stay really low, sneak up there. Right behind me is a drop off. The camera can't go back any further. I'm just gonna have to do my best to film this, and then I'll go up and show you the spot after I catch a fish. I'm actually gonna move the camera a little more this way, and I'm gonna try to stay in this little bit of clumped grass cover. We'll see. Alright. My goodness, if this is done right, there could be a nice fish in here. Okay, here I am. I'm down in. I do not want to blow this up. If that fish sees anything coming overhead, it's not going to hit, it's just going to go in the cover. But this is a really nice holding spot. Gets off. Little brook trout got off. Stay right here, we'll try again. Take a little more line out. There we go. I could tell that fish was a little bit better. So, oh geez, I decided to blow the spot up and come back to the camera. All right, we have a beautiful little wild brownie on the double trouble. Let's take a look at this fish. Be a nice place to release one. And away he goes. Good looking little fish. Okay, that's pretty neat. We went from native brookies to wild browns. Nice deep holding spot. I blew it up. There could have been more fish in there, but it's okay. I'm doing a video and I'm going to give you a better look at this spot. Look how nice and deep this is. It's in the wide open, so I had to stay low, because if I would have came up to the spot, just stood straight over it and fished it, guaranteed I'm not catching a fish. Remember that. Stay low, use your cover. You saw where I tripped in that cover, and don't let the fish see you. Remember, the fish are facing upstream, so if you're fishing the stream upstream, you have a better chance of those fish not seeing you. That's how I'm fishing today. I'm not coming down through the water. I'm moving up the stream. I'm staying on the bank and I'm slowly working into my spots and thinking my strategy over. If you think strategy, you have a better chance to catch a fish. If you just walked up, like these are fresh stock fish, you're not going to catch them. So anytime you're fishing for wild or native fish, you have to think, because these things were born in the stream. They've been chased by predators their whole life, and they're looking for danger constantly. You're danger. There's so many other things that are danger. They see something come overhead, they're instantly thinking, seek cover. All right, we have a nice channel right here. The stream really narrows down. It creates a channel, and it's not deep, but it's a lot deeper. Could be holding fish. There's probably nymphs in there. Fish like to eat, and there's a lot of food in there most likely. This is right above where I just landed that brownie in a deep hole, and we're gonna see if we can land a fish in this little channel. Come later in the spring, these are my favorite spots, these channels like this. I'm gonna get down there and hopefully get into one. Move the camera up just a little bit. Okay, you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna reach out. Oh, there's one up. Little dinker, flipped it right out of the water. But in this situation, you have to keep your line really tight. Forgot to mention this. A lot of times in the slower spots, you can have a little bit of sag in your line. Situation like this, these channels that are only about that deep, you have to keep a tight line, and you look for your line to make any little movement, any little bump. You'll see it. The more you fish it, the more you'll get used to it, but you're not going to keep a sag in your line because you're not going to see the strikes in a channel like this. It's a little bit faster, not quite as deep, but a nice channel coming down through, and fish will just sit in there and feed and feed and feed on nymphs, especially in the spring. There we go. All right, we're into the brown trout, and that was in that channel. I'm gonna blow the channel up just to come down and show you the fish, and then I'll give you a better look at that channel. Let me bring this down here. All right. And this right here is an absolute gorgeous fish. You can see the dots on this guy, and that is a pretty one. Let my other hand give you a good look. That is a gorgeous little wild brown trout. See those dots on them, bright orange. Get him back in the water. Yes, indeed. Absolute gorgeous fish. And away he goes, back up into the channel to feed. Such a different situation. See, I'm marking the clip with the one here. Okay, got it marked. I mark all my good clips with the one, and I can go back through, and it's not hard to put a video together, but such a different situation than some of the deeper washed out areas. And I'm gonna guess this channel is only, maybe a foot, a little bit over a foot deep at the most. And spring, and there's a lot of active nymphs right now, and fish will sit in there. In the winter time, not so much. In the springtime, you have to fish these channels. Anytime where you see the creek gets real skinny and narrow, it gets a little bit deeper, you can see the riffles coming across, throw in there, keep everything tight. And if you see even the slightest little movement in your line, or I'm always watching like right where my tippet ring meets my sighter, anytime you see a little bit of a movement, you have to set the hook. All right, I'm gonna have to end it. Big Trav was just up there honking a horn, and that's my call to get off the stream. I hope you were able to learn some things today. It's a nice little wild/native brook stream. It was kind of cool to come out here and catch some wild browns and some native brookies. If you have any questions about fishing these streams, leave them in the comments below. I hope some of the stuff I did today, some of the techniques made sense. And the biggest thing is to stay stealthy, especially when the water's crystal clear like this. We'd like to thank everybody for following along. Be sure to check us out on all the social media out there. And until next time, best of luck on the water.